Welcome to the Dynasty Happy Hour podcast. Pull up a chair and kick up your feet as you get ready to enjoy some of the industry's most entertaining and actionable Dynasty content on the planet. We're talking veterans, rookies, sleepers, and oh yeah, you know the crew has those dad jokes ready for you. So let's not wait any longer and bring on the host or some combination of Doug, James, and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Dynasty Happy Hour. It is week 3, and we are here to give you all the news, all the insights on all the games this week, even some of the games that are going on right now. There's only one, so it's not plural. But before I bring in Tyler and James, this week we are brought to you by Manscaping. Absolutely awesome product. Proper grooming requires precision engineered tools. Not only does a man's sensitive areas require it, but hygiene demands it because no one wants you to be stanky. You know what I'm saying? Manscaped has the right tools for the job. Skin safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a wireless charger. Weed Whacker, nose and ear trimmer, which is something different than the Lawnmower 3.0. They're giving you extra things to keep all your crevices and your ear holes and your nose holes completely clean. It is awesome. And not only that, they're giving you the crop preserver, the crop cleanser, and the crop reviver. You're going to smell like $1 million. You're going to be smooth as a baby's bottom. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And make sure you use code DHH for 20% off at checkout. James is here. His undefeated Giants playing tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. Will they go 3-0? We don't know. But I can tell you right now, there's only like 12 or 13 teams with a winning record in the NFL because it's a weird season so far. You know, this week 3, if you're looking at your teams and you're like, where the points at? Like, did you start Mac Hollins? What are you, a rookie amateur? Of course he didn't start Mac Hollins, but he popped off today. So we're going to talk about that and much more as we get it going here. But there was some injuries today that are notable. The very last play of the Patriots game, Mac Jones, high ankle sprain, looked bad, but x-rays were negative. They played Green Bay, I believe, on Sunday night. So Mac, he's got to miss games, right? A high ankle sprain, unless he's on that TB12 recovery method. Could we see Brian Hoyer? Like, eek. It didn't look great for Mac Jones. So if you're starting him in Superflex leagues, I started him in Scott Fishbowl this week because Matt Ryan has been hot garbage. So Mac Jones, cool. So be on the eye for that. The big one though, for fantasy purposes, Dalvin Cook hurt his shoulder again. Early reports of that, he dislocated it. Not a big deal. But we saw Cook score a touchdown this week, as well as Alexander Madison score a touchdown in relief. And if you're a Cook owner, what should you have on your roster, Tyler?
Alexander Madison.
Yay! That is the correct answer. And if you're a deep leaguer, you got Ty Chandler and the Nwango kid as well, like I do in one of our leagues. I have all 4 of them because, why not? But yeah, those are some of the big injuries. Do we have anything else? We didn't have anything on the sheet, but I'm trying to remember if there was
AJ Green with a knee injury.
No one cares.
That happened late. Yeah. I mean,
no one cares.
When he landed on he jumped up, tried to catch a pass, and then he landed and just evaporated. Just dust.
So last year, it looked like AJ Green wasn't washed last year. Now it looks like the Cardinals offense and AJ Green are both washed. They're bad. They are one of the surprise real bad teams. And, they won last week barely. But they're bad.
One injury of note is David Montgomery.
That's
hurt
right.
His knee, ankle.
I'm sure we'll talk about that game.
And then we'll definitely get into some juicier points, but that is definitely one that
and it looks
alarming.
like he's day to day, it looks like, and they said that he'll be quote unquote fine. If I'm the Bears, I'm like, no, you're not fine, and we're gonna start this other running back who I'm sure we'll talk about because I just think
get an MRI and then come talk to me.
Exactly. Come talk to me. We get
talk to you on Monday after the MRI.
Hey. Yeah, so not a lot of injuries this week, thankfully, but also not a lot of high scoring studs this week either. So very interesting week in the fantasy football streets. That is for sure. Before we move on to our main segment here, I do want to give a shout out to Trophy Smack. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, thank you in advance. Leave some comments in there. We would love to hit them up in the live stream. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe on YouTube. But it's Trophy Smack. Our longest reigning sponsor is Trophy Smack. We were one of the first podcasts to rep them, and we're proud to still do it because they have an absolutely awesome product. James has his customized belt there at home, and it came out awesome. You can upgrade your fantasy league today, whether you play football, hockey, basketball, baseball, soccer, pretty much everything, and then you can completely customize it. They have the right trophy for you no matter what. Even if you're a loser in your league, they have the right thing for you. And when you use code DHHRing, you get a free $60 championship ring with the purchase of a trophy or a belt. Yes, that's right. Free stuff for something you're going to buy anyway, and it's awesome, heavy-duty quality. It's not cheap. You're not going to go, oh, yeah, $60 value my butt. It is super duper nice. Tyler got one for our league that we won last year to commemorate our awesome victory. So once again, that's code DHHRing for that free ring at checkout on TrophySmack.com. All right, let's start with Thursday, because Thursday was actually interesting. It looked, like it could be a really kind of ho-hum matchup on paper. Browns and Steelers. But there was definitely some takeaways here, James. What did you see when you watched the Browns and Steelers game on Thursday?
Trubisky is Trubisky, really. But what really jumped off the page for me was I'm waiting for Kenny Pickett. And if someone hasn't tried to acquire Kenny Pickett this week, you're not doing it right. We had a couple days there, Friday, Saturday. You should have made an offer by now for Kenny Pickett. I mean, you need to move on from Trubisky if you're still living under that stone. But Cooper Kupp is one that is not dead, my friends. I know there were doubts going into the season.
Kupp. You mean Amari?
Kupp.
I mean, Amari Cooper.
I was going to say, I think that's obvious.
Yeah.
I was like,
Cooper Kupp.
Wait.
My
He
apologies.
died?
It's later in the day, guys. I've had a couple. And no, Amari Cooper is not dead.
No.
That is great. Second week in a row that he's over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, back-to-back weeks. I'm loving some Cooper. Amari, I almost did it again. Thanks, guys. Amari Cooper.
Sheesh.
Can't wait for Watson to get back there and be his quarterback.
Yeah, Tyler, what did you see from this game other than the George Pickens redonkulous catch?
All I'm going to say is Trubisky is hyper-targeting Deontay Johnson, and that should stop and slow down once Pickett comes in. Pickett, to me, seems like a guy who's going to spread the ball around. Freiermuth will be a lot better. And the aforementioned George Pickens will actually produce I think, in a way that we've seen Garrett Wilson, like maybe a poor man's Garrett Wilson style, like 8 targets a game, 6 catches. I think he's going to be a guy that we're going to see rise throughout the season.
All right, I don't know if you guys left this one for me, but there's an obvious winner here. Thank you, James. I appreciate you. As everyone who's tuned into this podcast from day one of the 2017 draft knows that I'm a David Njoku guy, and to see Njoku get his probably best career game in terms of targets, and he looked like the real deal. He's in there blocking, he's pass catching, he was doing everything, and he looked amazing in this game. I love Njoku. This isn't going to be a week-to-week thing. It's going to be inconsistent, but you know what? At the tight end position, there's only 3 or 4 consistent guys. So if Njoku's your tight end 1 in a league, you're going to have to, you're going to ride or die. There's going to be great games. There's going to be games that aren't as good. But David Njoku showed why he got paid from the Cleveland Browns. He can be a vital part in this offense when the matchup allows, and I loved seeing Njoku's usage this week. And also Najee Harris. Man, I know his, he was like the Dynasty RB3 or 4 at one point. I'm nervous because the line's not good. And, Najee looks okay, but, that foot injury, I don't know. There's just if someone comes to you with a strong offer for Najee Harris, I'm not blaming you for taking it at this point. So I'll just leave it at that. Let's get into some of these 1:00 games. I didn't watch too much football today because I was in the car, but I listened to some. And so I'm going to let you guys really take point in here, but I'm going to start with the Texans and Bears game.
This is going to be fun.
Texans are now 0-2-1. Bears are 2-1. We saw David Montgomery go down. Still concerned about Justin Fields. He threw 14 more passes today? Yeah.
So that's my main point.
17.
Justin Fields looks bad. I posted on Twitter when I saw his second airmailed pick in the middle of the field. Literally just threw it 2 people higher than it should be. And
Mac Jones had one of those today too.
And Petrie dished it up, snagged it up. But for a second pick of the game. And for me, we've seen that so much, and I'm not seeing growth from Fields. Like Kmet finally got on the board. Finally. Mooney is still missing. Like they finally found Kmet. Mooney's still missing out in the streets in Chicago. Fields, I have a feeling he 50% of the draft class doesn't hit, and Fields could be in that range.
Your
for
hot
me,
take's looking more and more real every day, Tyler.
For me, it literally is Fields and Lance were my worry. Like one of those two can't hit. Like both of them can't hit in this class. And it seems like with the Fields play, Lance has some hope for me. Like that gives me hope because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's one of these two that's going to hit or miss. And right now, from what I've seen from Fields, it seems like him. Like, I don't know. I'm worried. If you've got Fields, I would worry. I would start looking for trade partners real quick because I have a feeling Chicago will probably move on from him next year.
Wow, that's interesting.
And if Fields lands in the right spot, though.
Yeah, I would think this is more subject to coaching personnel than anything else, along with the offensive line looking like hot garbage. He's going to be running for his life. We knew this was going to be the case.
The offensive line threw that ball for him.
No, I'm not going to say he won't make mistakes. Every quarterback makes mistakes, especially young quarterbacks.
Especially when you're under pressure constantly.
Yeah, constantly. I mean, we could turn around on the other side of the ball and say Davis Mills had a bad game too. I mean, he threw 2 interceptions.
Oh yeah, I'm worried about him too.
I mean, like, Fields two fumbles is not good either. But
so QBR involves rushing for a quarterback. Fields was 8 for 47, QBR of 19.7. That's ungood, especially when you involve his rushing.
Very, very ungood. But the real news is Khalil Herbert in this game. And we talked about Khalil Herbert way back last year when he was a rookie. I believe he was a 6th round pick.
Love Khalil Herbert.
He has gotten the second opportunity, which we all knew was coming. Didn't expect it in this matchup, but Khalil Herbert, 20 carries, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns.
More fantasy points in this game than David Montgomery's ever had in a game.
Ooh.
Just saying.
I mean, the way the offense is playing here, I wouldn't be shocked if Khalil Herbert just almost takes over.
8 yards a carry, and I know that's a skewed stat and people hate it, but 8 yards a carry behind that offensive line. Montgomery's a free agent at the end of the year. If I'm the Bears, see you later, see you later, pal. Gone. It's Khalil Herbert season. Can we talk a minute about on the other side of the ball, running back position with Dameon Pierce, though?
100%, 4 yards per carry.
Yeah, but I'm
don't
not worried.
Hate it.
I'm not worried about that. It's the usage, and he scored a touchdown. Like Dameon Pierce, if he keeps up this usage, getting 20 touches a game, he's going to be an RB2, even for the Houston Texans. You know, he went 20 for 80. He went 20 for 80 last week with no scores, and then he had 100 yards this week. So yeah, Dameon Pierce is coming on a little bit here, and the Rex Burkhead experiment from week 1, you know, they've kind of flipped the script. So Dameon Pierce is looking like he is gaining value by the day. And I would just want to let the public know that Tyler offered me Brandon Cooks for a 2023 first this week. Just wanted to put that in the ether.
What?
Yeah. Thanks, Tyler. Let's move on.
Next game.
If you guys can hear that, it's Bitter Doug tonight, everybody.
I think he was painting
Why
his
would I be
garage
bitter?
Or something like that and inhaling fumes when he sent that.
No,
I'm not bitter. I'm just like, what are you doing?
Well, in context, it's a 14-team league, and
it doesn't matter.
You are 2-0. So I figured, hey, you need receiver because you got 5
I think I'm
going to
be 3-0. I think I'm going to be 3-0 with those 5 receivers. So, yeah,
that's all.
I'm fine. All right, let's move on to the 0-3 now. Las Vegas Raiders. Who saw that coming? Tennessee moves to 1-2. They win 24-22. This was the coming out game for Mac Hollins. Hunter Renfrow missed this game due to a concussion. I'm going to give a shout out. I don't know who it was, but there was a USA Today article before the season. It was like deep sleepers from each team, and Mac Hollins was the Raiders sleeper from one of their beat writers. So congrats to them. They hit today. 8 for 158 and a touchdown. Obviously, he's a guy that might be available on your waiver wire in deep dynasty leagues. If you got room on your roster, sure. But he was really the surprise performance out of this one. Tyler, what did you think about this game? Any observations here?
Treylon Burks, he dropped a touchdown. He did a crossing route, dropped a touchdown. He also had a very nice catch where he got smoked. It was he got
bad one coming across
undercut, and then
hospital
he got
ball.
He hopped right back up, still played in the game. There is a Treylon Burks big game coming. and it should be soon.
He's been hyper efficient.
Do we
with
have
his
to wait
targets.
for Malik Willis to
No.
throw him the ball?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Tannehill's done a pretty good job, so I'm not too worried about that. For me, the Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry does not look like Henry. He doesn't have the power that I've seen him have as well. So I sold Henry for a 23 first earlier this week.
You lucky
and
dog.
I am very happy about that. And I actually played against him, and he scored 20-some points this week. So I still am going to pull off the victory. So no love lost.
Nice. James, what do you got from this game?
Not much. I mean, I think we all covered it. We can move on.
Are we worried a little bit about Devontae Adams?
You have to be
No, I'm
with the
not really
Raiders.
worried about it. He's still getting his targets.
He did get 10 targets in this game, but the 2 straight weeks where the yardage has been
Yeah.
not hot.
It's Derek Carr.
Too
Derek
much
Carr.
eyeliner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had something. He poked his eye with the eyeliner this week. I don't know.
maybe he
I'd
got
probably
the
be more
nod.
worried about Darren Waller in a game that
Very
Renfro
fair.
wasn't in, and I was hoping Waller was going to have a big game because of it, and we see that slot position, which Tennessee is weak at slot coverage. So Matt Collins fit right in there. It was supposed to be a big Renfro game, and when Renfro went out, I thought, hey, Waller's going to get a bump, try to get rid of him. But as we see here, 3 receptions on 22 yards, not what I was hoping for, and I am a little bit nervous about him.
Yeah. For IDP players out there, it's Max Crosby season. That's all you need to know. He's an animal.
Help me to victory.
Yeah, same here in another league. The QB pressures are finally turning into sacks, so you'll love to see it. All right, let's get on to the next game here. As I go down, boopity boop boop, waiting, loading. All right, it is the Chiefs and Colts. The Colts, the upset, maybe not of the day. Yeah, maybe. The Colts win 20-17. Patrick Mahomes, pretty pedestrian, only a touchdown today, 20 of 35. This Chiefs offense, this should have been a smash spot, right? The Colts defense has been reeling. There was no Shaq Leonard this week again. This is a huge surprise, and it's not like the Colts did anything great on offense either. This was a pretty ugly game. James, anything to extrapolate from this game other than Clyde Edwards-Helair's lack of rushing yards?
Juju led in targets.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something to pay attention to.
He still looks
Behind they tied with Kelsey.
Every
but
time I saw Juju catch it and he started taking off, I'm like, God, he is not athletic. Like, he's lost some juice, and you could tell he's not the
some juju's.
yeah, some juice. But yeah, it's obvious. Like, he's just lost a step.
I think we know like what to expect from this Chiefs offense now after 3 weeks. The ball's going to get spread around. You really just want Mahomes or Kelsey, maybe a little bit of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like,
do you?
I mean, if you have them, you're kind of stuck with them, and that's how I feel like with all these players on this roster. But on the other side of the ball, we had a bright spot in the tight end room. Jelani Woods, 2 touchdowns on 3 targets. He is 6'7".
He is huge.
What is he,
He's
like
massive.
6'7", 225? He's a heck of a mountain of a man.
Very raw still. So to get
Yes.
2 touchdowns in a game was like, okay.
Yeah, and the fact that he was raw, he did catch 8 touchdowns in his senior year at Virginia. So I like the transition here. Big red zone target. They needed something else. Matt Ryan needed something else to continue. And then after last week's bad game, I expected Matt Ryan to come back a little bit. Still had some fumbling issues. They're having a hard time blocking.
Getting Michael Pittman back.
Getting Pittman back was definitely a key, and a healthier Alec Pierce as well.
So Jelani Woods, should we just call him Jelani Redwoods?
That's fair. He's a large man.
Like everybody says Mo Alley Cox is huge, and Jelani Woods makes him look like a lollipop guild. Like, honest to God, he's huge.
I mean, he's 2 inches taller than Mo Alley Cox, who is, a mountain of a man, just like they call Jelani Woods.
Mahomes and Bieniemy got into it today before the second half. Mahomes wanted to go for it. He wanted to score points, and they decided to just let the clock run out. Mahomes was very heated. I think that actually decided the game. If Mahomes would have went for a field goal or points, this game could have tied when it's overtime. I think they did a press conference, and you could tell Mahomes was a little irritated by that.
Agitated. Yeah, all right, let's move on to the next game. This was the game of the day in terms of, viewership and whatnot. It was the undefeated Dolphins against the undefeated Bills. Well, guess what?
One of them still undefeated.
One of them is still undefeated, and that is the Miami Dolphins. We saw Tua go out of this game with a concussion. There were some questions about
it was a back injury.
It was a back injury.
Yeah, sure. Back of the brain injury.
Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
Josh Allen has an absolute monster day. He threw the ball 63 times, 400 yards, a couple of touchdowns, had 47 yards on the ground. So Josh Allen didn't disappoint. And who had Devin Singletary catching passes on their bingo card? A lot of them.
I put him on my bench this week. I feel so bad.
I had him on my bench in a league as well. Tyler, what from this game stood out to you?
Well, James Cook is seen the field. I got to mention that. He still looks very spry, and when he does get the ball, you kind of hold your breath waiting for something magical to happen.
Magical or bad?
Magical.
Oh, okay.
Magically bad.
But, I mean, until either Singletary and Moss get dinged up, James Cook is going to have his role, and he's going to have 4 or 5 opportunities a game. So until that happens, James Cook can be on your bench. I mean, he got you 8 PPR points or so. So that's not bad.
Are you regretting paying up the way you did in the offseason for James Cook right now?
No, because it's still week 3.
Okay.
And I still believe it will progress. Like we're all saying about that with Justin Jefferson.
Is the window now? It's a buy window right now in your eyes for James Cook.
Your buy window was week 1 and week 2 when he did nothing, or the first fumble.
Well, I mean, he still pretty much did not
still
much.
doing nothing. Yeah,
but he's
one
getting
carry,
points.
3 yards.
He's getting points and he's being productive. Like he's more productive than a lot of running backs right now. So that's a plus.
Yeah, the running back scene is kind of a bad one.
But for me, the one thing I do want to mention is Josh Allen. He was rattled. They lost a lot of offensive linemen this game, a lot of injuries. And Josh Allen was very frustrated. You could tell. And same with Ken Dorsey. If you didn't see that film, he was thrashed in that box. But, this is going to be a very frustrating running back room. And, I mean...
You know what's crazy to me? The Dolphins only threw the football 20 times and won the game.
Uh-huh.
Teddy
it was crazy. They were showing like the Bills'
time of possession was
ridiculous, and the first downs were ridiculous for Buffalo. The yardage alone, I mean, Allen threw for 400 yards. He threw the ball 63 times.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But we know Josh Allen will be okay. We know the Buffalo Bills' offensive pieces will be okay. The one person, and it's the opposite side of the ball, Chase Edmonds, 6 carries, 21 yards. 2 touchdowns. I love the 2 touchdowns. Sell right now. I am not convinced with Chase Edmonds. He had less carries than Raheem Mostert in this one. It just happens to be him around the goal line. You can't rely on that week to week. If Chase Edmonds has any value to anyone on your leagues, I would get rid of him now.
Yeah, that's fair. And I just want to warn all Tyreek Hill owners. This is the Tyreek Hill experience. There's, he only went over 100 yards, I think, twice last year or 3 times. There's a lot of feast or famine in Tyreek Hill's game. Week 1, he didn't do much against the Pats. He pops off last week. Week 3, 2 for 33 on 4 targets. Waddle's been the most consistent pass catcher in this offense. And then Mike Gesicki crashed back down to earth with 1 catch for 6 yards. Didn't get a chance to show the new gritty that he's been working on. So that's unfortunate. So
Mac Jones did though.
What? Real fast. What are our takes on Isaiah McKenzie?
Gabe Davis isn't healthy. Gabe Davis isn't fully healthy. And
McKenzie's going to be inconsistent too.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
he's
going to be a part of the active offense.
He is a wide receiver 4.
He'll be good on bye weeks. He'll be good to
Yeah.
put in your lineup in bye weeks. That's the kind of player that I
100%.
look at him at. All right, let's move on to the NFC North matchup. The Lions and Vikings. Lions led most of the way in this one, but Kirk Cousins, the insurance salesman, car salesman extraordinaire, brings the Vikings back to win 28-24 on a touchdown to KJ Osborne. A lot of people's favorite sleeper this season. I'll take this one. Amon-Ra was fighting through an ankle injury. DeAndre Swift got dinged up again in this one, it looks like. But Jamal Williams, Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift are both top 7 running backs in the season right now. That's a fun stat. So if you own DeAndre Swift and have Jamal Williams as your handcuff, it's one of those things is could you start them both in the same week? I suppose. But Jamal Williams has 20 carries for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Reynolds, a sneaky guy I've always liked him since he came
2
out
weeks
of
in a row, Josh Reynolds.
Since he came out of A&M, and then he was the Rams like third receiver, and then he went to Tennessee and they released him. But he's kind of found new life here for Detroit. I don't think he's a consistent starter, but 10 targets. DJ Chark has a quiet week again. TJ Hawkinson finally scores you fantasy points. Oof. I'm selling TJ Hawkinson.
Josh Reynolds, a Tim Keller OG.
Yeah, very much so. But Hawkinson, man, like it's great that he scores you a touchdown, but if you're starting him with any confidence week to week, like Godspeed to you. His value is definitely taking a hit. And on the other side of the ball, we talked about the Dalvin Cook injury. Looks like he's going to be fine, so no reason to panic there. But it's really all about Justin Jefferson. Only 6 targets, 3 for 14 in this game. Yeah, that's 2 weeks in a row where Jefferson's underperformed. I'm not worried about it at all. I think he's going to be just fine. But it just stinks when you have an absolute stud have a dud. That's all I'm going to say.
This is 2 weeks in a row that he's done this and pretty much disappeared this game. Like they had him down on lock. Just wait for a team that, he needs to show up to, like he doesn't need to show up to, like Chicago or something like that. And, he'll have a great game.
This is like the one buying opportunity you have for a guy like this. Like if you have an opportunity to go get Justin Jefferson.
If anyone's panicking, they're a bad owner. So congrats if you can take advantage of that.
Go check everybody in your league. And they blanketed Jefferson. They had
smart.
All eyes on. Yeah, that's what he's gonna have to deal with because he's one of the better receivers in the league. And he'll have his games, but man, it's definitely tough after week 1, just lighting the world on fire.
Yep. Absolutely. So, yeah, that was an interesting game. I thought the Lions would pull it out, but unfortunately, they came up a little short in the end. All right, let's move on to the Ravens visiting the Patriots. This was a close game. I listened to this one on the drive home from New Hampshire, and this was a fun game. It was back and forth for a while. The Pats were right in it. For the Patriots, Mac throws 3 picks, has the injury, did rush for his first career touchdown, so cool. Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson both scored. Stevenson went over 100 yards and looked really, really good in this one. And then for the Patriots passing game, Devontae Parker looks spry. 5 for 156. Every catch he had was like over 25 yards the whole game. It was crazy. Do you guys want to cover anything on the Baltimore side? We saw the return of J.K. Dobbins this week.
Limited J.K. Dobbins.
Yes.
I'm still waiting. I want to see another week of some kind of usage. You did mention Ramondre Stevenson. I wanted to mention that. I believe he's going to lead this backfield, especially in games.
They love Harris.
I know, but look at the snap share. I mean, it's pretty much even.
I think it's going to be even
over 5 yards per carry. Like this is what you want
against Baltimore, which the defense isn't what it used to be.
They're giving up over 5 yards a carry on the season, by the way. Yeah.
And going with Bateman had a
terrible
very
game.
No, I don't think it was.
We had a fumble.
Lamar missed him. It was within inches of a touchdown, a deep bomb. This is going to be Bateman. You're going to need a big play because it's all Mark Andrews. Devin Duvernay's taking all the touchdowns, but I think Bateman's time and opportunities will come very, very soon. So same with Jefferson, if anybody's sleeping on Bateman, go check because he is prime for a breakout.
Yeah, my heart did smile just a little bit when Josh Oliver caught a touchdown because he was one of my guys that I was big on.
Instead of Isaiah Likely.
I thought of you. Right when he caught him, like,
coming out.
Somewhere Doug is smiling.
Yeah,
with an erection.
those Jacksonville days, I thought he had such an opportunity, and then he just kept getting hurt. But yeah, Josh Oliver still in the league. He caught a touchdown that made my heart smile. So that was a nice little treat for me. But yeah, Devontae Parker, 10 targets, like maybe he keeps it going. No one else had more than 5, and Parker looked good. I know this Baltimore's secondary is weird because they have good names, but they play like turd.
With the Devontae Parker, if I may, this was Nelson Aguilar last week. And we said it last week about Nelson Aguilar. Like each week we won't know who's going to get it until they've got it. Could be
Kendrick Bourne next week if he gets out
exactly.
Of the doghouse.
Yeah. I mean, they all live inside like 5 to 7 targets. The main guy that week will have 10, and we have to remember that this week Jacoby Myers was out.
The thing with Parker though is they brought him in to be the alpha. Like that, Parker's a known big time player. That's the thing. All these other guys have been just kind of auxiliary pieces, something that is just there. Parker actually has an opportunity to keep building off of this.
If the Ravens make the playoffs, I think Lamar is putting up some quite nice MVP stats right now. And that man, every week that goes by, that contract's getting a little bit more expensive. So Lamar, over 200 passing, over 100 on the ground. Again, I think it's the 13th or 14th time he's done that. Like, yeah, Lamar he is good. He's very good. All right, let's get on to the Bengals at the Jets. The Bengals finally get a win and get off the schneid. They win 27-12 over the Jets. Tyler, what do you got from this? Your boy Tyler Boyd scored a touchdown. So I thought of you when that happens because I know you're a Boyd. You've always been a Boyd guy.
Yeah, he got smoked like twice, and just it was like a pinball machine, to ding ding ding, and then just took off. That was a big touchdown. That was fun to see. My take is, man, can T. Higgins not get hit in the head? That'd be great. I'd love for that. But Garrett Wilson, 10 targets again. He got hurt. He got hit bad. It looked bad because he was in a lot of pain. Came back though, so he's just fine. Breece Hall getting 11 targets is nice to see. The issue is Zach Wilson's coming back, everybody, next week. So enjoy. I hope we enjoyed all of this stuff because
Flacco threw it 52 more times today.
Yeah. I mean, Flacco did not look great. Flacco did not look great. And people are like, oh, let's bring in Zach Wilson. Newsflash. It's going to look worse. It's not going to look better.
It's going to be bad.
I mean, Elijah Moore's opportunity could actually be better because all Wilson wants to do is look in the slot. So Elijah Moore could actually be on the rise, and Garrett Wilson, I would struggle to I mean, I've been wanting to slide him in starting lineups now with Flacco, but once Wilson comes back, I don't think he's going to be a little more irrelevant than normal.
Yeah. We talk about Tyler Conklin having a really strong season.
Yes, I played him today. Very
CJ
nice.
Uzomah, they signed Conklin and Uzomah hasn't done anything, but Conklin has been super consistent. Caught all 8 targets, 84 yards this week. Like, all right, the University of Minnesota guy, Conklin.
Uzomah was the vet that they brought in.
I know he
played. This is his first game back from rehab and all that. Mm-hmm. Conklin has been in the offense, and he's been the better tight end in practices. So I'm not too shocked, and I like Conklin. He was a sneaky ad on waivers, especially if you played in some tight end premium leagugues. I like Conklin.
I thought you were going to say tight end leagues. I'm like, aren't all leagues tight end leagues?
Let's talk a second about Joe Mixon with quite the bud
that's
today.
What I wanted to talk about.
15 touches for, let me do the quick math, 38 yards. That's not good. Samaje Perine outruns him and catches a touchdown. Like, I'm not concerned with Mixon like over Perine or anything like that, but I thought this was a great spot for Joe, and not so great. Another running back that's struggling. We're seeing these, first round-ish running backs like Mixon and McCaffrey and Taylor not finding the end zone, and that's a huge part of it. Running back has been pretty disappointing.
2 yards per carry is the more disturbing thing. And then last week, 3 yards per carry. Week 1, 3 yards per carry. It seems like he's not able to get to the second level.
The more money they threw at the offensive line, the worse it got.
So weird. So it's so damn strange.
They've got the Super Bowl blues.
It happens to a lot of teams, that's for sure.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of Super Bowl, how about them Eagles 3-0 beating the Commanders 24-8? Jalen Hurts. It's Jalen Hurts in Lamar Jackson's world, and everyone else is just living in it. Hurts looked damn good again today.
Yeah, 100%.
Tyler. Yeah.
His confidence is boosted, and we saw it with Josh Allen. They bring in Stephon Diggs, and here we are in Dynasty Happy Hour making fun of Josh Allen, and then he breaks out. And I sat here thinking to myself, maybe Hurts ain't the answer. And they bring in A.J. Brown, and look what happens.
He's the answer.
The thing is, Devonta Smith looks like Alabama Devonta Smith. They're using him
back.
They're using him downfield, which is what you need to do. Like
two weeks in a row. This isn't like a one-off now. And
so is this like the flashback of Alabama all over again?
A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith both getting double-digit targets. That's what you're going to see. Dallas Goedert, he got hurt. But a name you guys need to know because Dallas Goedert got hurt.
Yes, I know what you're going to say.
Grant Calcaterra. I added him in a couple leagues where I could.
I got him cheap everywhere.
He was a very high-recruited tight end. And then he had some off-the-field stuff, I'm pretty sure, and then came back, played for a different college, and now he's back at it. I think I'm almost sure he's the guy that wanted to retire, then decided to go back to college again, but
maybe
he's very talented, and he showed that today with his long touchdown. If Dallas Goedert's hurt, I think he's an even swap because talent-wise, I don't think he's far off from Goddard because he's a very talented player.
Goddard did re-enter the game after the injury. I think
You re-entered the game.
Interesting thing on Washington's side of the ball. Once again, Curtis Samuel leads the way in targets. He had 10 targets. McLaurin had 9. He went over 100, which was nice. 6 for 102 in a tough matchup.
Good
and
to
then
see it.
J.D. McKissick, obviously they're playing from behind, so he did a lot. Jahan Dotson had a quiet game, but still had 8 targets. So, it's those 4 guys in the passing game. Antonio Gibson's week 1, 7 catches. That's not happening again, I don't think. They're using him exclusively just in the backfield and not swinging out to catch passes. But I really love what I'm seeing out of Curtis Samuel. I've been a Curtis Samuel guy for a while. I got him in so many dynasty leagues. So it's nice to see him healthy and contributing. So I think he's in every week start, like a wide receiver 3 or a flex. So I love that. But yeah, Jalen Hurts, I am very happy that in my redraft leagues, all 3 of them, Jalen Hurts is my QB1. I believed in Hurts, and here we are, and I'm scoring points and winning, and life is good. So let's talk about some teams that typically don't score points, and the Panthers get off the schneid. And Laviska Shenault.
The schneid?
The schneid. Laviska Shenault, the insert Undertaker gif here. Sits up from the coffin and scores a 67-yard touchdown and looks really good. I don't care what anybody says. I still like Laviska. But the Panthers beat the Saints 22-14. James, give me your observations from this barn burner of an NFC South matchup.
Oh, man. Why do I always get the hard ones?
That's what she said.
Yeah, other than the Laviska Shenault thing, are we worried? I think I'm worried about Alvin Kamara and CMC. And these 2 offenses in general, unless it's a wide receiver named Chris Olave.
I'm not worried about McCaffrey. 25 carries. I'm
not worried about both. It's head coaching. They're both not great. The offensive philosophy for both teams is not
Matt
great.
Rule sucks.
He's so bad. I
hope they lost because he might have been fired after
that
this
defense
game.
is so good, and it's literally carrying Rule's job.
Hey, if you're a DJ Moore owner, are you
panicking?
1 reception for 2 yards on 6 targets? He had more rushing yards than receiving yards in this game. No one got a lot of targets. They didn't throw
trying
the ball
to get
much.
out of everything Carolina right now.
Baker's bad. He will honestly he'll be replaced by Darnold when Darnold returns.
No, I think they like Baker. They've already talked to Baker coming back for next year. There, with what I've heard. I'm concerned with McCaffrey from a pass catching standpoint. Only 4 targets. That's where when he was averaging 20 plus fantasy points per game, we know a lot of that was on the receptions out of the backfield, and they're not consistently showing it to him. But let's talk about Olave. 13 targets. He had 360 air yards last week, so we knew that it was coming.
Oh, yeah.
But 13 targets, 9 for 147. Michael Thomas did get dinged up in this one. Jarvis Landry exited the game as well. If you're still holding on to Adam Troutman in Dynasty, you can just let him go. He's not. He ain't it.
You don't want any tight end from the Saints.
No, not really.
No.
Because even with Taysom Hill out of this game, the tight ends did nothing. So Chris Olave, though, he's from last week to this week. Can he be consistent, Tyler?
It all depends on the injury. For me, for Michael Thomas, is he going to be out longer periods of time? For me, it was last man standing. Last week he had 90 yards. He had a fine game last week. But he got fed because he was it. Landry and Thomas were gone. Are you going to depend on the other guys? No. You're going to give it to Olave, your first-round rookie. He's a good player, but do I think he's going to be an elite wide receiver 1, which was my issue, where everybody had him. They had him above Wilson and all these other players because he's a good route runner. But for me, he's a fine player. But if I have the opportunity to I don't know, pivot to Drake London with this, I would. I'd look elsewhere. I don't see an elite type of receiver with Olave. He had a really good game though, so I got to give him credit for that.
Would you try to sell Olave for Garrett Wilson right now? Is there anybody you think would do that?
I do.
Garrett Wilson kind of had a bad game this week. Olave had the up game. You try to flip even 1 for 1?
For me personally, I'd wait a week after Zach Wilson comes back, and I'd be able to get Garrett Wilson plus
for Olave. All right,
It's
so you're
all
holding
about
on
value.
both. You're
Yeah.
holding
I
on
mean,
both.
if I have Olave, yeah, and if I'm that's my target is Garrett Wilson. I'm waiting till Zach Wilson comes back 100%.
Yeah. And the good news is if you stacked Winston, Kamara, and Michael Thomas today in DFS on Underdog, you know what the good thing is you can just move on and you can play the next game in the next week, or you could have played Sunday night, you can play Monday night, lots of different things that you can do on Underdog. So make sure you check them out there. There's player pick'ems, player props, there's quick draft 16 best balls as well. So go download the Underdog app right now, hit pause, go download, we'll wait. Then use code DHH to have your deposit up to $100 matched right away. So put in 100, get 100, 50, 50. You know the drill. That's free money for something that you're going to play anyways. I love playing DFS. I play for small stakes, nothing crazy. So go get yourself some free money. Enter yourself for NFL best balls, over-unders for the entire NFL season. They also have baseball on there if you're more of like, the slow speed. Feel free. You can do it on there as well. So don't miss out on this deal. Once again, it's code DHH for your deposit up to $100 for you, so you can spend it and hopefully win some as well. All right, let's get into our next game. I'm going to say this one's the upset of the day. I know Justin Herbert came in and he was dinged up. The Chargers didn't have Keenan Allen again, but we saw the Jacksonville Jaguars absolutely moss the LA Chargers. The Jaguars were on the road. The Chargers are now 1-2. The Jags, the Shaggy Wise, yeah, baby. They're scoring touchdowns. It was great. Trevor Lawrence looked great. James Robinson, he's got to be the story of the year early here. What do we think, Tyler?
Personally, I think it's Trevor Lawrence. He looks elite. All these bootleg throws that he's making are just like Herbert. If you were to tell me that Herbert was on Jacksonville today, the healthy Herbert, I would have been confused, except for the long locks, of course. But for me, Herbert and Lawrence should be a little closer than we think, especially if Lawrence is going to play like this. He looked like the special player we all wanted to come out. Robinson, I mean, all I can do is clap my hands for him. Coming back from the Achilles like this.
Comeback player of the year, you think? Thus
Can
far,
he
yes.
be, though? Because I don't think he really had an off year last year. It's more, for me, that was the basis of comeback player, like Adrian Peterson tore his ACL. He comes back. But yeah, I mean, for me, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they look legit. And when you have a defense with Trayvon Walker, who looks like the elite player that they drafted at 101, everybody laughed at him passing Aiden Hutchinson, but he just looks special. He looks like an athlete out there on the field. And they're using him correctly, which is what you need to do with a player like that. On the other side, Herbert, he looked hurt, so I'm going to kind of give him a pass. And Justin Palmer,
Hertbert,
Khalil Herbert's brother. We all saw that. But yeah, Josh Palmer, he looked very good. He had a big play. He looked gassed though after that. I mean, Gerald Everett looked gassed the last game we saw the Chargers play. Maybe they need their conditioning a little better.
Yeah, James,
I'm sitting here saying that, so I shouldn't be saying
yeah,
anything.
take a 30-second break, Tyler. You're probably out of gas right now. James, any thoughts on this game? I've got a couple, but I would just want to see.
I have two things on each side. One thing on each side of the ball that I'll mention. Zay Jones led the receiving corps in this game.
He's good.
11 targets, 10 receptions, 85 yards, and a tutty.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Zay Jones. Like Zay, we talked about him in the offseason. I
talked about him last year when he was with Oakland.
The episode that Doug and I were playing Two Grumpy Old Men, I believe, was the episode that we brought up Zay Jones as a very, very cheap investment for your dynasty rosters. It's starting to pay off now, which I am so happy about. Start looking around for teams in your league, especially if you're not contending, that are contending. Zay Jones might be someone that you can slip off and get a draft pick or something if you're not contending this year.
What if somebody needs a top 5 tight end? Are they looking at Jacksonville for that?
You waited until the week that Kyle Pitts actually caught the ball to make the joke like that? Thanks. On the other side of the ball, Eckler, I'm nervous about because he's not putting enough points to get the full value.
At least he had 8 catches today, but holy smokes.
Yeah, and we know that Herbert was hurt. Keenan Allen didn't play in this matchup. Mike Williams only had 1 catch. Luckily for him, it was a touchdown. I advised this morning not to play Mike Williams. Stay away from the whole situation. Avoid it if you can. But you can't avoid Austin Eckler. He is a focal point in anybody's dynasty roster if you have him on your roster. So I personally don't. I got rid of my shares last year. I sold high. I'm nervous about Eckler. Anybody else with me there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about Travis Etienne too.
Yeah.
Slightly, but he still had some good carries in this one, so I'll give him a pass.
He had a long one that got called back, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he did. That's the story week to week. Like, can he just not have like a penalty or a drop pass on one good play that he breaks out?
You know it's coming eventually.
It's coming eventually.
Yeah.
That's what
but
she said.
and Christian Kirk, like, consistently looking great in this offense. They're using him how they should have used him in Arizona with fake genius Cliff Kingsbury, who sucks.
Another team that could use him.
Christian Kirk got paid and we all kind of laughed, but so far so good. Like, he's up to 3 or 4 touchdowns on the season. He's getting consistent targets and he looks good. So yeah, lots to look forward to in this Jacksonville passing game. So yeah, definitely a fun game for if you're a Jaguars fan. Duval, as they say. That's the cool old guy speech. Thank you, listener.
Christian Kirk's probably going to have a bad game next week against the Eagles. Just a heads up.
Why do you have?
We'll see.
I don't think so. This team looks legit.
All
Doug
right.
Peterson revenge game.
Yeah. Let's move on to this absolute turd of a game. NFC West. I was told the NFC West and the AFC West was going to be this high-scoring shootouts week to week, and so far, yeah, not so much. The Rams win 20-12. The Cardinals, they kicked 2 field goals in the second half. The Cardinals are so bad. Kyler threw it 58 times, scoreless. He didn't throw a touchdown. Neither did Matthew Stafford. Like, this game was rough.
Ugly.
We did see Marquise Brown 14 for 140. I'm saying sell him off now before Hopkins comes back.
17 targets.
Yeah.
Yeah, sell him now before Hopkins comes back. When Hopkins comes back, he's the gear that makes the whole thing go. But, Connor's hobbled. Cam Akers has a touchdown, but also fumbles it on the goal line. Darrell Henderson had no usage, which is good if you're a Cam Akers owner and you're looking for something positive. But Allen Robinson,
dropped a touchdown, literally wide open on a crossing route.
Yes.
Went right through his hands.
Cooper Kupp is quiet. Luckily, he had a rushing touchdown. This was
Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch was good though.
This was the disappointment bowl from fantasy.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
It's tough watching Arizona because they need playmakers. They are throwing out just players you probably have never heard of. Greg Dortch, us
He's been a DFS
diehards,
hero for me.
Dortch.
us dynasty players have heard about him for the longest time. But the home league
Travis
players are.
May or Riley was a big Dortch guy.
Yeah, Travis May was a big Dortch guy.
Yeah.
They need Rondell Moore back. And what the heck is going on with Rondell Moore? Is he still hurt?
Yes.
Come on.
I think they moved him to IR, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, because
No,
they could.
I think he was just ruled out this week. I don't think.
Yeah,
he's on
they could
IR.
really use
Let me
him.
vet that.
He would. You know what they need? They need
Something
George-
called Andre Bocellia caught 2 passes. I don't know who that is.
They could have used George Pickens here.
Andre Bocelli was playing.
Imagine George
For
Pickens
receiver?
in this offense. Imagine George Pickens in this offense. They should have traded for DK. They need a big, tall receiver to throw. So
Where's
Kyler
my boy
can throw.
Antoine Wesley at? I like that guy. Where's he at?
He is on IR.
I know.
That
I
is
like
what-
Wesley. He was good in this offense last year too.
This team is rough. Kyler, I still think, is a decent player, but Cliff and this offense and offensive line is going to push them to play football or baseball.
Cliff is just bad.
So bad.
He's just bad. Yeah, this whole game was. I mean, Darrell Henderson 4 carries. Eek.
Do you think McVay and Cliff were just doing the fish lip look with their sunglasses on the sideline, looking at each other all the time, yeah, I look better.
Who's more of a pretty boy? Let's go.
Hold on, how's my hair? Cliff.
All right, let's move on before we get. Yeah. So
Zoolander style.
Rondell Moore is not on.
no, he was just ruled out.
IR,
He should be
but
back
just
in a week or two, though. I
not
think with that injury.
practicing.
Go to
yet.
a good game, a fun game. to
Yeah,
watch.
the Falcons, Mr. Falcon. They won 27-23 over the Seahawks. We saw some fantasy players come back to life in this one, most notably Tyler's guy, Kyle Pitts. Cordero Patterson 2 out of 3 games looking like an absolute animal. And DK Metcalf had you a nice fantasy day if you had the cojones to start him, as I did in one league, because I only have 5 receivers. Oh, let's go. Tyler, give me the rundown on your Falcons.
So Patterson looked good. If you told me this is a 31-year-old playing a running back and he's only played running back for so many years, I would tell you you're lying to me. He looks like a 24-year-old player. He's having fun. He's loving it. You guys, I think Cordero Patterson could be the running back there for a little more long, like a little while, because Tyler Algier is not special at all. Every time he touched the ball, it was just like, ugh. Who's that? Zach Moss? No.
But with this running back class next year, they could be like early second round.
Yeah, and
they can make
honestly,
a move for one. Yeah.
So everybody compared Ritter to Mariota. Mariota looks awesome in this offense. If Ritter is better than Mariota, I think they got their quarterback. That was kind of what I drew up in the conclusion when I watched this game. And whoever didn't see the Kyle Pitts game coming, I mean, you
didn't do anything in the second half though, which was,
you weren't reading between the lines because they had a player first meeting, and Kyle Pitts is not the player to come up and be like, I need the ball. He's very humble and he wants a team to win, but yet all you heard this week was Kyle Pitts, he's not worried about his stats. They had a meeting, and Kyle Pitts is like, feed me. Give me the ball, because I am a dude. And he showed it on the field. Like, he wasn't open on some of these, and he just snagged it and was like, nope, this is mine. Drake London's touchdown. He drug Quandre Diggs into the end zone. Like, Diggs had him, and he's like, nope, you're coming with me. Like, London's a baller. Pitts is a baller. This team... It's got
just getting started.
Yeah, it's getting me really, really excited.
Getting amped.
You know who I used to like on the I used to like Noah Fant in Dynasty, but for like 3 straight weeks now, Colby Parkinson and Will Disley have been getting more yards than Noah Fant.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's going to be the next team for Noah Fant wherever he goes as a free agent.
Noah Fart.
Yeah.
Colby Parkinson's hair game on
between
point.
him and Hawkinson, like how disappointed are we with those two?
With their powers combined, they could be tight end 17.
And with another low-performing game from Kenneth Walker, I'm going to try to buy this week.
He did have a 21-yard rip after he had like 2 carries for like negative yards at one point. But yeah, all it's going to take, James, I think you're onto something. Go try to get Ken Walker. If Rashad Penny goes down for an injury, and he will, Ken Walker is going to be the dude. It ain't DJ Dallas. It's not Travis Homer. It's Kenny Walker, so I'm here for it, and I agree.
Who would have thought Geno was an upgrade?
Geno, not bad.
Picked him up off the waiver wire May 8th in one of my home Dynasty leagues.
Good for you.
You got on your whiteboard?
Yeah, I was like, who can I get for free? 8th. Well, I have Jalen Hurts, I have Carson Wentz, and I have Baker, and I'm like, I need why not Geno? Like, and everybody was on the Drew Lock train, and then I saw him like that second week of the preseason. Oh, he had COVID, and then Geno's gelling with the team. I think Geno continues to grow in this offense for some reason. They play Detroit next week. New Orleans is maybe a different story, but then Arizona, the Chargers that we just saw the Jags whip up on. This is going to be a team that is going to throw the ball. We saw Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf both get heavily targeted this week. I'm happy with the performance for Geno Smith because you picked him up off the waiver wire. And if you want to flip him for a third, you probably could right now.
Absolutely. Let's get on to the final game of the day, which was the game of the day on paper, right? Green Bay Packers, Tampa. What was the final score on this one? 41-38?
No.
No. It was 14-12.
Can you flip those numbers around?
So every time that Tampa Bay plays now, you're just going to want to take the under in all bets.
It was 14-12. We know Tampa had no Mike Evans with the suspension, no Chris Godwin, no Julio Jones, who apparently has a PCL injury. Cool. And Green Bay, they didn't do much on offense either. They split the carries between Jones and Dillon. Romeo Doubs showed out, 8 targets, 8 receptions for 73 and a touchdown. Randall Cobb had a long completion. Lazard scored again for the second straight week. I like what I saw out of Bob Tonyan, though. Coming off that ACL injury, I think he's gaining a little bit of momentum. We know that he scored 8 touchdowns 2 years ago.
Another reliable target for Rodgers.
Yeah, but Leonard
just
Fournette
no yardage after the catch.
Yeah, Fournette didn't do anything. It was all Russell Gage in this one because he's really all they had. 13 targets, 12 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown, so good for him. But this game, this is a fantasy between the Rams, Cardinals. If you would have told me the Rams, Cardinals, Green Bay, and Tampa would produce no like top 12 fantasy players this week, although Hollywood Brown might end up being there because of the receptions, I'd be like, really? It was that bad. This is these two games really killed a lot of fantasy teams this week. What do you guys think?
I think Aaron Rodgers was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is what we need to expect from Aaron Rodgers going forward too. He's not going to be at the top 5 in his position week in, week out. I think those days are behind him with the exit of Devontae Adams. So I think he's doing what he can. It's just going to be, you're going to roll the dice and try to get him out there every week, but there might be another better option on your bench in some weeks.
The best thing about this game was the Fox comedy skit they did about Brady and Rodgers, where they made fun of their age, and they were talking about how Tom Brady likes to watch tape on players, but they use a VHS tape, and then how Tom Brady likes to do workouts, but he asked for his 100-disc stereo system with CDs from Matchbox 20 and a couple other and Hoobastank, and he goes, but they're burned CDs, where he downloaded it from Napster. It was the best skit ever, and that's the best thing we got from this. Christian Watson should be a fun player to kind of keep an eye on too, with this Green Bay offense searching for weapons.
Yeah. Any final words before we get on out of here?
Broncos are ungood right now. Russ
I'm concerned with Russ. He's not good. San Francisco looks good in pockets though. Like, we'll see.
I mean, Jeff Wilson already 8 carries, 55 yards. I'm excited about that.
It looks like a big Debo game, which I know, Doug, you need in the league.
I do indeed need a big
already
Debo
5 for 5 for 73 yards.
So this is the way, if you play IDP, will tilt you. When you play Brian Burns and he has 0 points, and you leave Trey Hendrickson on the bench and he scores 44 in a league, like, yeah, a little tilting, but it's okay. Yeah. It's early. I'm not too worried about it. But that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Make sure you also check out dynastynerds.com, sign up for the Nerd Herd. Use code DHH for 15% off of any subscription. Get your trade tools, your extra Nerd Herd episode, Prospect Film Room, Dynasty GM, all sorts of stuff. And you can check out Viridian Global. You know, it's starting to get a little chilly out at night. If you need a new sweatshirt, just type in DHH and you can search for us there and grab yourself a new hoodie in any color that you might like. So once again, thank you to all our sponsors. Manscaped, code DHH for 20% off. Underdog.
Underdog,
code DHH. I'm a mess right now. It's getting late. I'm like the opposite of James. He stumbled in the beginning. I'm stumbling
real low
in the end.
That's because I drink a bang through the show, and like by the time we get to the end, I'm like, yeah, let's go.
You're like focused
for another hour.
So on Underdog, it's code DHH for up to $100 matched, and Trophy Smack as well. Code DHH ring to get that $60 value championship ring for free. That is going to wrap it up for us. I still can't speak. Hopefully I'll get better next week. I'm terrible. All right, we'll see you guys next week on the Dynasty Happy Hour. I'm going to go to speech therapy.